This stretch of road between Port Macquarie and Nabiac is known to police and travellers alike as a notorious black spot. With a series of what police describe as nasty bends, many a motorist has come to grief. Police believe the biggest cause of accidents in this area is fatigue, with drivers travelling up the coast from Sydney without a rest.
We find that the further the expressway comes north, the further the fatigue area seems to come north, and the drivers get to our area and they haven't had a break. They're on the conditions of road that aren't suited to them, because they're usually city drivers, and the fatigue catches up to them.
But with improvements, including the installation of divided highway due to be completed in this area within 12 months, police are optimistic. With the future in mind, random breath testing took a step forward this week with the training of all operational police in a new computerised system. The new unit originated in the United States but boasts 85% Australian content.
The new machine is much faster and leaves a lot less downtime for police on the road.
Said to be easy to operate, the unit gives a printout of the level of alcohol in the blood. Its accuracy, according to police, unquestionable.
David Mullane and Paul Markwood are a couple of Jekyll and Hydes. On the field, pure dynamite. But off the field, quiet as church mice. So quiet as Paul Markwood, he was nowhere to be found for the cameras today, much to the dismay of his partner of the big hit, Dave Mullane.
I think I prefer it that way, mate. I was a bit upset you found me today, actually.
Tony Ford's really knuckling down to his task. On a good run by Luke Massey, but they've hit him.
The centres can run the ball and run it out wide as well. Here's a big move up the middle.
Of the Newcastle Knights, plenty of support, gives it on to Mackay, and Mackay is going to score the third. Penrith gives a brilliant ball to Fittler. Fittler now gives it on to Carter, and Penrith. Sunday's match takes on grand final status, and Bugsy Mullane won't hear of defeat.
We can't really afford to drop another one after a close loss to Illawarra. But I'm sure if the boys put in the same effort we did last week, we'll come up pretty well.
Rod Schnooks from Maxville High School has won Australia's first ever gold medal at the International Chemistry Olympiad in the United States. His performance against some of the best young minds in the world helped the Australian Olympiad team to scoop a record 4 medals. The talent of this Guy Creek whiz kid has already been recognised back home. He was one of the first North Coast students to be granted an accelerated progression through school, allowing him to sit for the HSC this year at the age of just 15.
It was a book enthusiast picnic, 75,000 books going at bargain prices. All books were donated and ranged in price from 10 cents to $30. During the last 2 days, around 3,000 people have poured through the doors to snap up the buys. $15,000 was raised. The money will be used to build a new lifeline centre, replacing the current one, which is prone to flooding during heavy rain. For the second year in a row, students from Pallamallawar Public School were out on the farm picking as many pecans as their buckets could hold. Trawalla Pecan Nut Farm is the biggest in Australia and supplies to domestic as well as international markets. With the bulk of the harvest completed a couple of months ago, the children were in picking up the nuts that had been left behind. And there was a special motivation, with the farm donating money to the school for the students' efforts. Last year, for the 600 kilograms of nuts gathered, the school received $1,400.
We use that to buy things that we need for the school. We bought a colour TV last year and a video machine.
The students aim to beat last year's pickings, but that can be tiring work. So after a short refuelling break, it was back on the job. Catherine Lamond, NBN News.
Over 60 shooters are taking aim in Grafton for the next 2 days in the 4th New South Wales Action Pistol Championship, with 4 events on target for decision. Such exotic contests include the falling plate event, the modified moving target, the practical event and the barricade contest. A steady hand and a cool eye are required, and this year's Pistol Championship has attracted the current national title holder Peter Bergenson, and he will be hard to beat. At Alstonville, training as well as competition was the order of the day in the Zone 15 Pony Club meeting. Around 100 youngsters and their noble steeds from Grafton to the Queensland border rode dressage and also took part in the combined training on offer. Aged from 10 to near 15, the riders were put through their paces by experts with the hope their skills in the saddle will continue to improve.
Upgrading the sewerage works has been the source of public debate and protest for the last 2 years. Despite this, the project got the green light this week. The upgrade involves increasing capacity of treatment at the Lennox Head plant, recycling of effluent in the Ballina area, and construction of a larger ocean outfall at Skenner's Head in about 10 years. Council says the upgrading will take place in stages, with all work constantly reviewed. Ian Cohen from the political conservation group Byron Greens says Council's decision is appalling and believes it will lead to the destruction of precious rainforest. Mr Cohen says the group now intends lobbying state government in an attempt to block the upgrade.
It's a nightmare to organise. 143 teams spread across 24 fields and playing around 200 games of league, all on the one day. It's the country's biggest and longest running junior league carnival, with under-7s right through to open secondary schools divisions being contested. And McIntyre of Armidale picked up the 16As. Gunnedah South were too strong for Singleton Heights in the 9As. The open final was played late this afternoon between Corindi and Woodlawn, and we'll have a full report on that match at our news tomorrow night. Five to 1, 5 to 4 on in favourite and 33 to 1. In Sydney it was the Edward Air handicap and it was a bit of magic. $8 to 1, 50 to 1 and 11 to 2, the unplaced favourite at 5 to 2, Mighty Tango. At Broadmeadow, the 7th was the open handicap over 1,400 metres. $20.10 and $3.60, $2 even and $2.10. Not a bad trifecta, $1,075.80.
While the horses were put through their paces on the nearby track, about 150 gun owners from throughout the Hunter were meeting at Cessnock Showground to prepare for another kind of race, politics. The Shooters Party has been formed to fight the state government's new gun laws using the weapon that makes or breaks politicians, the ballot box. The gun owners say the tighter laws are unfairly targeting them.
And I've never done anything wrong in my life with a gun. They're penalising us.
Today's meeting was held to gauge the support for a local branch of the Shooters Party. The upshot, a committee has been formed, policies will be formulated and the possibility raised of putting candidates in swinging seats like Maitland.
I think people, everyday people, they're sick of policies of the existing government and oppositions, and hopefully we'll form our own policies and carry on.
Among those at the meeting, the Liberals' former Cessnock MP Bob Roberts, who was carried into State Parliament 4 years ago on the gun issue.
The Strathfield massacre was the turning point, and I think the government's made the decision about the legislation. I don't agree with some of it, so I'm showing my support here.
We've proved once that we can undo a government in Cessnock, and if it was to be done again, maybe with the support of new members we can do it.
Scott Bevan, NBN News. Lynn Beverley was behind the counter of her Regent Street General Store at about 1:45 this afternoon when a teenager with a beanie pulled over his face walked in demanding money. When Lynn refused to open the till, the offender pulled out a 20-centimetre long knife. But the shop owner reached behind her, grabbed a similar sized knife and called the would-be robber's bluff. He lunged for the cash register, but Lynn cut him off. So he grabbed a charity box containing about $100 from the counter and fled. Lynn wouldn't be interviewed, but said it was the first time she'd been held up in the 4 years she's owned the shop. The offender is described as being about 14 years old, about 160 centimetres tall and of slim build. As well as the beanie, he was wearing a blue and grey check flannelette shirt and grey tracksuit pants. Scott Bevan, NBN News. The lure of the grape has uncorked a tourist gold mine for the Hunter Valley. More than 600,000 tourists spending $50 million have had a fine time among the vines in the past year alone. But while all those extra hearts and mouths know a good drop, the problem for most tourists apparently is finding their way through the Hunter wineries and what they have to offer.
We find in the Hunter that people are stopping all the time, don't know where they're going and are wasting time looking for vineyards. So the grape tape is ideal for that situation.
To help would-be wine buffs gain their bearings, Tim Graham has come up with a Be Your Own tour guide cassette called the Grape Tape. Slipped into the car cassette console, the one-day talking tour takes the visitor to 6 Hunter wineries. The Grape Tape was launched at the Sussex Ridge Guesthouse this afternoon by Cessnock Mayor Marie Callaghan. To be wired for sound for the day costs $10. The tape will be available from all tourist outlets in the Hunter region. And to those promoting vacations among the vineyards, this is one bottler of an idea worthy of toasting. Scott Bevan, NBN News.
In Newcastle today, Australian Institute of Engineers President Murray Gillen claimed our engineers' ingenuity would lead Australia's economic recovery.
Engineers have the critical role of converting ideas, research, into developed commercial products and services.
Mr Gillen says it's small and medium-sized companies encouraging innovation and investment who'll ultimately be successful. And he says he's seen several Hunter companies already reaping the rewards.
Companies and engineers are really making it happen. The degree of innovation, the degree of commitment to the marketplace, and the excellence of the products that are being produced demonstrates to me that we have the seeds of a significant recovery.
Len Collison chose Law Week to voice 11 years of frustration. 11 years, he says, of battling through the family law court for access to his daughter. Len's a member of the Lone Fathers Association. He says in most divorce cases, it's the man who loses out.
The non-custodial parent gets nothing except big law bills. Mountains of paper.
Len's personal picket attracted plenty of attention.
Don't you think I love my kids?
Yes, of course you do.
This is why I fought for 11 years.
The women get the most sympathy.
The man doesn't get any.
No, he doesn't.
The family law court is currently the subject of a Senate inquiry. Its findings should be handed down next month. And just a few hundred metres away, Law Week was well underway. Courthouse celebrating its centenary. It was dress-up day as the court retried those first cases, 2 counts of drunkenness and a stolen umbrella. The jazzed-up jury reacting right on cue.
What have you got to say for yourself?
Other events this week: mock trials, free hotline legal advice and tours of Newcastle Courthouse. Anthony Griffiths, NBN News.
The last time Narrabri ratepayers staged a public rally, they called for the resignation of Shire President Bevan O'Regan. Tomorrow's rally will coincide with Council's monthly meeting. Organisers have completed a letter drop of the entire Shire urging residents to attend, and they're hoping up to 1,000 will turn out.
I understand there's quite a number of the businesses that are closing down and going to letting their staff go to the rally, and others have said that councillors officially will let anybody go that wants to go.
Harry Illingworth says despite rumours that he has an ulterior motive in organising the rally, he is genuinely concerned about the lack of morale among council staff and the effect council infighting is having on the town.
The only ulterior motive I've got is I want to get Narrabri back on track. I've worked for this town over many, many years, and I think it's time that the people realise that their town and our district's being sacrificed. The council as a whole, right throughout the northwest. Every council in the northwest is starting to get worried about Narrabri because you're bringing local government down. And we just can't let that continue.
The rally will get underway at 9:30 outside the council chambers and is expected to last for around half an hour.
Our second half performance is just spot on. The forwards took the game right to Penrith, and naturally that allowed our backs to play behind it. And you couldn't fault the way they went about their work in the second half.
Hagan holding it back. Boyd's inside the 32. Finds Schuster. Schuster gets a pass away for Sargent. Sargent gives it to Brinker. Oh, he'll get it over. It's a try.
We showed a few people yesterday just how good attacking side we are. You know, a couple of tries I was quite happy with, and Adrian Brunker and Mark Glanville getting one as well. You know, I think that there's still a lot of improvement there in our attacking football, and hopefully we can show just a bit more of that in the last 5 games.
It was a great performance, yeah. The guys really did it a bit tough in the first half, but then we stuck together, just powered on and come through. Last year, the year before, we'd come close to beating them down at home, and they come up here and flogged us, so it was good to turn it around.
Long pass, what a beauty! Marquette, he's striding for the corner!
This was the scene when the politicians and boffins from Canberra went to see for themselves just how dangerous it is at the intersection of Anderson Drive and the New England Highway at Taro near Maitland. No one was injured in this incident, but this corner has claimed the lives of 30 people in almost as many years. Local member John Price and Newcastle City Council want a graded, separated intersection or a roundabout built here. Heavier because the New England Highway has a temporary national highway status, while a new stage is being built.
I was anxious to have the Minister see for himself just what sort of a traffic problem had been created by the National Highway emptying its traffic out onto John Renshaw Drive and then turning left down the New England Highway past Taro to get to the Hexham Bridge.
But just who should pay the estimated $10 million required to build a separated interchange?
It's the kind of news that sails against the mood of recession. The Port of Newcastle has set a new record over the past financial year for handling exports and imports. More than 45,600,000 tonnes of materials were handled through the port. And the positive sign for Australia's bottom line is that exports accounted for 39.7 million tonnes, worth more than $2 billion, while imports reached 5.9 million. Coal has made up the bulk of exports, jumping by 1 million tonnes from last year's figures to 37,860,000 tonnes.
Well, the coal tonnages have been continuing to climb, and that's, I think, significant in terms of the growth in the Asian market. And it's also reflective of the good work that's been going on in the operation of the coal industry.
Mr Connell says the tough economic times have taken some bites out of the port's business.
Difficulty in exports of general cargoes has clearly got our attention, but there are opportunities that are going to emerge shortly. The port will see the increased trade through the expansion of the aluminium smelter, for instance, at Tomago.
And the ability for the port to handle further increases could be helped by a study now underway looking at the harbour channel. Scott Bevan, NBN News.
Andrew James Wallenhofer of Batto Bay came into contact with a 240-volt fallen power line yesterday as he was walking home from Foresters Beach. Residents of the Rafamara cabins on the entrance road heard the boy scream but couldn't approach him.
Due to the shock, he's fallen back on the wire
and there he has stayed for some 15 minutes until ambulance personnel came along. They very courageously pulled the live wire out and began working on the young person.
Andrew was pronounced dead in Gosford Hospital. Today, Sydney Council engineers and linesmen were repairing the cable. It's not known how long the line had been down. Residents say that although the park is in dilapidated condition, it's still a popular shortcut for people making their way through to nearby Foresters Beach. Police suspect Andrew may have touched the power line in a bid to rescue his pet.
It would appear that possibly the dog has come in contact with the wire, and the young person's gone to push the wire away to save the dog, has in fact been electrocuted himself.
Reports are being prepared by police and the Sydney County Council for a coronial inquest. Tom Hilston, NBN News. Zeal Theatre's production Joyride takes teenagers on a wild journey through the thrills and spills of juvenile crime. School audiences at Maitland Police Youth Club are confronted with a traumatic event, a car crash and a death. But the story goes beyond the chase to the courts and to the victims of crime.
The consequences are that you're going to get caught, probably. And chances are if you're not going to get caught, then you are going to pay in some way.
The performance has the support of the New South Wales Police Citizens Youth Club and the Education Department, but more importantly, the message is getting across to their audiences.
I was sort of telling kids like what can happen to them when they go for joyrides and driving.
Zeal Theatre's statewide tour will include not only schools, but juvenile detention centres and youth welfare groups as well. Renovations to East Maitland Court were carried out in 3 stages over the past 12 months. They include provision of a new wing to the building constructed in the same style and with the same materials, but providing the latest in facilities for the legal profession and the public. The work cost more than $380,000 and includes careful restoration of heritage features. But of equal importance, the work will also help to speed up the process of law.
Yes, there has been an increase. In fact, we've increased the district court sittings by 4 weeks, and there will be 17 weeks of district court sittings, even though there's only 2 days a week, but that's all that's required in this area for local court sittings, so it will be used far more extensively.
Prominent legal and political figures as well as senior police gathered to formally inspect the court facilities and to see Justice Minister Terry Griffiths officially unveil a plaque to commemorate the occasion.
Newcastle's John Hunter Hospital is home to the new unit, due to commence surgery on September the 21st. Established at an estimated cost of up to $2 million, it's not surprising to find the theatre houses state-of-the-art equipment, able to cope with almost any procedure except transplants and some congenital surgery.
We'll be doing the most common cardiac operation of all, which is coronary artery bypass grafting. We'll do valve replacement operations, operations on the large arteries in the chest for conditions like aneurysms, some of the very simple congenital defects like holes in the heart.
To begin with, the expert team's workload will be small, about 4 operations a week. But within about a year, they'll be averaging 3 2.5-hour operations every weekday. And for at least 500 Novocastrians, it'll save a trip to Sydney.
It's going to mean that instead of having to go down and have their operations in Sydney and have all the trauma of going a long way away with their families and perhaps being separated from their families, that they can have the cardiac operation here just as they would have their gallbladder out or any other more simple procedure.
Heart patients from the Hunter Valley won't be the only people to benefit from the unit.
Get this unit developed, that people from areas such as the New England and Taree and perhaps even Gosford would make use of this facility.
Chaffey Dam is the main water supply for Tamworth. The CSIRO studied blue-green algae in the dam, but found something far more worrying. According to core tests, the siltation level is about 12%, meaning that within 10 years the dam will be filled with silt and not water.
At the moment, the indications are that the dam has already silted up to about 10% of its total capacity, and that's in only 12 years of operation. So that's a very rapid rate of filling. It implies a very rapid rate of erosion in the catchment, and that's clearly of concern both to the people who use the dam and potentially also to the people who use the catchment.
Council has ordered an in-depth report into the siltation problem. Dr. Andrew Murray of the CSIRO agrees more studies have to be done.
Really to work out where we should be spending money to identify the sources of sediment so that we can then start thinking about remedial works for the future.
And it appears the two problems which may be related. The study has shown both blue-green algae and siltation are caused by the movement of earth from the catchment area.
A great deal of the phosphorus in the dam is not coming from superphosphate, it's actually coming from basalt rocks.
From the sidelines, many may have thought this a riot. Not so, say the students, labelling it good, wholesome fun. They'd been celebrating at the hotel since 5 this morning, some carrying on from the night before. Hundreds of university students commemorating the 27th anniversary of their institution being granted autonomy from the University of New South Wales. By 8 o'clock, traffic was increasing. The police were called to avert any potential problems which can erupt when alcohol and large crowds are mixed.
It was a phone call from the public and that told us that this was on. We were led to believe there was about 50 people here on the footpath and that they were blocking Hunter Street.
The students say the reason for being on the streets was to salute sunrise. After almost 4 hours of partying, the students called it a day, clambering onto buses hastily summoned by the police. The revellers were returned to the university. Catherine Lamond, NBN News.